Hey guys, what's going on? It is Wednesday, and if it is Wednesday, it is time for Story Time with Taffy, episode number 18. A while back, I was going to do this. This trip has been in the works for a couple of months now, and I had planned, out of inspiration from a certain commentary, to have a guest on, because I have some family visiting from across the United States. Because of Hutch's departure, it is now painfully all too clear where this idea came from. At the same time, I'm not going to change up why I'm doing it or that I'm doing it. I've just decided that because my mom's in town, I'm going to have her on as a guest speaker. And we are going to just kind of hang out and do a sort of, Q&A, hangout, story time with Taffy's mom. On behalf of the western half of the United States, all-time leader in points scored and contender for the Jerome School District Fantasy Football League and March Madness brackets, thanks to help from her son, we have Taffy's mom. Why don't you go ahead and say hello?
Hello, everybody. How are y'all doing?
She's like Paula Deen with blonde hair, and she doesn't smoke or have diabetes. She flew out here to see my son and to see myself, and got a couple of quick questions. First and foremost, this comes up a lot when I'm crushing 13-year-olds on Xbox Live. You haven't had any sexual relations with any of these 13-year-olds, because a lot of times when I'm destroying these kids, they'll say that they have in fact humped my mom or make derogatory slander like that. Just let's clear the air and put it out there. Has this in fact happened?
That's going to lead into our first story, and if I get my hands on the first kid that said that, I will do the same to them that I did to my son, and we'll get into that in just a minute.
All right, good. That's actually going to considerably shorten story time. I had allotted quite a large chunk of time in case the answer was in the affirmative. Let's move to something a little more personal, something that my subscribers like when I talk about myself. So let's open up a little bit and say, on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being distraught, 10 being about ready to take your own life, how disappointed are you in my professional career choices thus far?
I would ask what the choices were again, so I'm just going to say I'm extremely proud, or I wouldn't even be a guest on this today.
All right, so we'll go with a 5. And yeah, you're kind of my inspiration for my storytelling abilities. You're always kind of the one that for better or for worse is willing to talk somebody's ear off at a gathering or a party. So
Me?
Yeah. So you got a couple of stories. So without further ado, I swing the mic over to you. And be blunt. These people deserve the truth.
Okay. Well, what brought us into this first story is, as I was out here visiting, I'm giving Ryan such a hard time about using the F word in front of my 1.5-year-old grandson.
I don't swear. Thank you very much. When I'm on Xbox Live, I try to be a role model to all the young minds, which I'm shaping and influencing. I'm pure as the driven snow.
And that's what's going to happen again. When he was about 6 years old, one of the things that he got spankings for, there were only 2. One was for disobedience and one was for lying. And so we were out at the elementary school talking to his teachers. And the first time he interrupted, I told him that was not acceptable. They always got a warning. And then the second time, I told him not to do it again or there would be discipline when we got home. So the third time, I had to come through with my promise. So as soon as we got home, I promptly took him in and to the bathroom and washed his mouth out with soap, which he didn't seem to like.
Let's clarify this. It's not like an old school 1950s, like take a bar of ivory soap and put it in your mouth. This lady put liquid dial onto a toothbrush and had me brush my teeth with it.
After I brushed his teeth with that, and he was gagging, and he still has a gag reflex today, but after I brushed his teeth with it, he was upset, and so he decided he was going to get a penny to go get a gumball out of the gumball machine. And he couldn't find a penny, and here we had just washed his mouth out with soap. We talked about talking nice, and he couldn't find a penny, and he comes back in. I ask him what's wrong. He tells me he can't find a damn penny. Well, that's not acceptable with a 6-year-old.
I think that you had a guest over, too. Like, I vaguely remember there being somebody that you were talking to, so once again, I've screwed myself over by having another adult view you as like, oh, so what are you going to do with your derelict child now?
So yes, and he loves to tell the story how I beat him, but the true story is, yes, I made him hold on to the towel rack so that as I popped him a few times with the belt, and I did not let the belt buckle hit him, I just wanted to make sure the discipline was well placed. Then as he gets older and in his first relationship, and we'll call her Samantha, and she was a nice, sweet little gal, and they had an on-again, off-again relationship, which you just want your kids to be happy. So as he finally broke up with her, knowing that he was doing what he thought was best, I couldn't stand to see her crying, so she comes in the other room and is upset. So I'm thinking I'm really helping him as I tell her he didn't really mean it, that he didn't really mean to break up with her, that they were going to get back together. So she goes back in the other room to tell him how excited she was, that she understands that he was just upset that his mom explained everything. So I just want you to realize we don't ever stop mothering. We always love, and that's just the way it is.
I ended up dating that girl for like an extra 3 months until I could garner the courage to break up with her again. That was an expensive judgment call on your part. Yeah, and the soap paddling thing. It was just an awful day on both ends of my body. We're going to get back to sort of hanging out. I wanted to do a story time. I wanted to do it like this. I wanted to take some time and make sure that you guys got something from us, and I thought this would just be kind of fun. A little bit of homage to Hutch and a little bit of homage to Mom, because I love you, Mama.
And I love you too, honey.
And we're going to go spend a little bit of what time we have left on this vacation together. Unfortunately, she flies out tomorrow, but not before we try to post this up and put a little something together for you, because it's Wednesday. And if it's Wednesday, it's story time. Speaking of, head down to the comment section below and load me up with all sorts of ideas for next week as we resume a much more regular scheduling program. Robert gets out of exams this week, and I will no longer have company so that he and I can get back into editing full blown. We have some exciting stuff going on with Evan Eckerd. I'm also working on the website, and we can start sort of booking new guests. We've run almost through the gamut. We've run almost through all the guests that we have saved up, and I need some new music to play with, so I'm gonna have to try to sign some new guests. So in the comments section below, leave me comments, questions, concerns, suggestions, musical artists, guys you'd want to see us play with. And as always, on behalf of the Mr. Waffles channel, I thank you for listening. This is Taffy, and I am out.